Thomas, can you start by telling how you came to the story of Soufra?
Yes, there's an organization that started all of this with Miriam Elfinar, and actually they're here. They gave the initial funds for her to start this road kitchen, but I had known them from another project we were trying to do in Libya, and that one never got started for a number of reasons. And so Mirna Tella called me and said, I've got this kind of crazy story. These women have started this rogue catering business and are contemplating a food truck. Is that something that is a story for you? So a week and a half later, I was there shooting it because they were getting ready to do the Kickstarter campaign, and then I thought, well, this will be a great 6 or 8 month project. And 2 years later, I was still following them in their pursuit of this. So it was quite a journey for all of us.
And Susan, what was it about this story that drew your support and attention?
Well, I mean, they want a food truck, they can't own anything, they can't drive, so you start from there. What imagination, and the fact that it was women, and food is so important in every culture, people getting together to cook, and all of the experiences that I've had in various refugee situations. One of the big things is when they can't cook. It's very upsetting, and so Tom told me about it. We worked together on some other documentaries, and everything about it sounded so far-fetched and at the same time so inspiring. I love the part in the doc when he says that there's no plan B. That people that face this kind of odds and adversity just keep at it because otherwise they're dead or gone and so I think that this is a testimony to them, and also this idea of always vilifying refugees, that something like this really helps to give a face and to humanize and to take people who are seen as concepts, who are just conceptual, and to really, and Tom did an amazing job to stick with it through the ups and downs and ins and outs and the bombing, everything, the explosions that happened while he was there, and hired a local crew, which was very important. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I met a guy there when we first started named Johnny Karam, and Johnny was incredible cinematographer, but only shot for news. He said that's the only thing that comes to shoot here is CNN and news, and so he had always, he'd studied film, he knew film, he studied lighting, and so I got together with Johnny, and he was just amazing. He was incredible. And the great thing for him is I gave him, after day one, I just gave him the freedom to shoot it the way he wanted to, but he also felt a tremendous responsibility in doing that. So he was fantastic. But the great thing is if something happened, he was there and could run back and forth. So while I was trying to get a flight and meet him there. So it was a great relationship. He was supposed to be here, but with all that's going on in that part of the world right now, he's pretty busy.
Can you update us on what's happening with the Soufra truck since the film was finished?
Yeah, so they've started. It's going. They're doing pretty well. Miriam has started this children's center inside the camp, which is really important to her. There's 150 Syrian kids right now that can't go to school because of overcrowding. They're using the food truck. They're getting some marketing together because really the idea of food trucks is new to Lebanon in general. But she's very smart, so she goes to these organizations and says, can I be in your parking lot on Monday? You mind if I be in your parking lot on Tuesday? So she's really been pushing the truck. And, for me, the truck is so symbolic of something much bigger, whether the truck ever succeeds or not. Like it was so symbolic of them having their dignity back and having this sense of self-worth that it really symbolizes. So.
Let's bring the house lights up, and we have time to take a few questions. Raise your hand, and I think we might have a microphone that can come to you. Yeah, I see a microphone in the back, so who's got a hand up for a question? Yep, I see right there on the aisle. We'll get you a microphone.
Hi, my name's Elizabeth McBride, and I'm a business writer actually for Forbes. My specialty is women entrepreneurs in the Middle East, so I'm super happy to be here.
Thanks for coming.
I've made about 20 trips to the region and thought you really captured the spirit of things very well, so I wanted to say that. And the second thing I was wondering is, as a storyteller, you were really looking at these people through an atypical frame. The refugees weren't victims, the women were actors, people in the Middle East weren't violent. And I just wondered if you were conscious of that as you did the narrative of the film.
I think the narrative always takes on the story of the person that you're following, and so this was who Miriam was. It was very hard for her to talk about anything negative because it didn't support what she was trying to do right now. And so she was just so persistent, and there's so many times I was just sure that it wasn't going to work. I thought we were going to have the shortest movie ever when the Kickstarter was so far behind. I thought it was over. So, but she just persevered and just kept at it, and that was her spirit. So I wanted the film to reflect not only her spirit, but the spirit that she brought the women and the rest of the camp. And I never wanted to tell a political story. This is a story of an underdog, and those are the stories I'm most drawn to. I grew up in a place where it was blue collar, and I'm near Flint, Michigan, where Kathleen Glynn is from as well, and we were all underdogs, so I guess I relate to that a bit. And so I just wanted to show her persistence and kind of her spirit throughout the film.
Okay, who's got a question? Yep, there we go. We're getting you a microphone.
Thank you. Thank you so much for telling the story. How much did the women in the movie, in the documentary, how much of a hand did they have in the actual translation? Because obviously the words at the bottom of the screen were really what was telling the story. Arabic is a very layered language. So how much work went into the actual translation of what they were saying?
Well, actually, we were fortunate in that we started out trying to get everything translated, but then we fortunately got Mohammed El-Manasterli and Ibrahim Nada to edit, who are both Egyptians and speak fluent Arabic. So all of the translation is their translation of the Arabic, which we feel pretty good about. And the women didn't see this until just a few weeks ago. I went back to Beirut and took the film to the camp so that they could all see it. And so they loved it. They all walked out when they were on the screen, which was funny, but they loved the film.
Also, there's a cookbook, and we're pushing the cookbook that someone for the first time went and measured everything, and people volunteered. You want to mention?
Who has that? Who has that in their hands? Mirna? Somebody? Can you bring that up?
The idea, what she wants to do, what Miriam wants to do, is try to take advantage of the loophole before it closes. To get more trucks, to as she said, to have more women who could be part of other groups who could also be cooking. So part of the way to generate that is this cookbook, which is a wonderful Christmas gift.
How do people get that?
Tom, how do people get that cookbook?
Soufrafilm.com.
Soufrafilm.com.
And also, the proceeds from this are being used to build this children's center, and then once we fund the children's center, there are other trucks and there's other opportunities and other camps that Miriam is kind of spearheading, has become really this guide for all the camps and people and women trying to do amazing things like her, and so she's become a bit of a coach. And Alfanar is handling that for us, so all of these funds are going to the women and their efforts, and it feels good to give back, and especially when you can see the accomplishments of.
It's in English and Arabic, by the way.
Yeah.
We'll be able to read.
Yeah, you'll be able to read it.
Okay, time for two more questions. I see a hand up back there. No, I'm sorry, sir. We'll get you next, but the microphone's down the hands of this woman.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Gina Sam. I'm a gastroenterologist who's originally from South America and the Caribbean. I think what's very beautiful about this film is that I don't think it's about Arabic women. I think it's about women sticking together, and many of us can relate to that story. What's also beautiful about the film is that even though it's a Middle Eastern culture, from my Caribbean culture, one of the major things that bring people together is food. So it's very beautiful how the women stick together, promoting health, doing these things to make money. It's very similar to the South American as well as Caribbean culture. So I thought it was amazing.
Thank you for your comment. Give the microphone to that, you want, yeah, give the microphone to that gentleman on the aisle.
Tom, wow, you've come a long way. You are really, really good at what you do.
Thank you.
And Susan, of course, you put your name again on something that'll help people who are just learning to help themselves. But I got up for another reason. In these days of sexual harassment being bad, I still had to do it. You look really hot in those red boots and black outfit.
Thanks, Malcolm. He's an inside plant. He was, thank you.
Okay. We can squeeze in one more question. We'll get this gentleman here a microphone here with his hand up.
Thank you. It's amazing, and thank you so much. I'm just unclear going forward to support whatever the next thing is. Is it through Alphanar? Is it through the film? How do you contribute if you want to support?
Well, so Alphanar is the organization that handles all of the donations to Miriam. It's hard for them to get bank accounts, to get all of these kind of things, and it would be nearly impossible for you or I to send money into Lebanon. So what Alphanar does is they're in Lebanon, they're on the ground, they have a New York office, they have a London office, but all of the money that goes to Alphanar, all of the money, not one percentage of it, goes directly to the women. So they have been like these amazing coaches as well. They've sent people to help with business plans, and some of that, Teresa, who you saw in there, was their contact. So they've been really kind of hand in glove with Miriam along the way, and it's quite beautiful. But they do this for, I'm telling you, the organization's incredible. They do this for women all over the Middle East. And yeah, if you go to our website, then there's a donate page, and it will go on there.
Soufrafilm.com.
Soufrafilm.com, and it will show you what your donation does and where that money goes. So you can donate this much, and it will help buy a child's education for a year. This much will help buy a desk, so on and so forth.
And at the moment, that's where the cookbook is too, right? On
And the
website.
cookbook is there too. The cookbook is there.
Susan?